So this is the interview with Jefferies. He's a director of an amazing film documentary about the rise, the fall, and everything in between of XFM. It launched some amazing careers. I'm going to play the promo video for that film. I urge you to go and watch it. And really thanks to Ian for affording his time, because I know he's extremely busy. He was actually on film set, and we'll talk about that in the film. So stick around. This is Duggystone Radio, and enjoy this. So this is the interview with Jefferies. He's a director of an amazing film documentary about the rise, the fall, and everything in between of XFM. It launched some amazing careers. I'm going to play the promo video for that film. I urge you to go and watch it. And really thanks to Ian for affording his time, because I know he's extremely busy. He was actually on film set, and we'll talk about that in the film. So stick around. This is Duggystone Radio, and enjoy this.
If you wanted to find out what XFM was about, you're going to have to tune in.
I was winging it.
So this is it. They're going to hear our demo and they're going to play us. I thought it was all laid out for us.
Rickie and I received an email from Sammy that said, "What am I paying you for?"
It was probably the best job I ever had. The only problem was I didn't know what I was doing.
Call yourself the bastion of indie guitar music. You don't even know that there's a indie guitar radio station in London.
Sammy, I think, was a visionary.
I always think that if you can remember it, you weren't really there.
BBC Six Music would not exist without XFM. Fact.
It was the best year of my life.
Because you know what the real truth was? I don't think any of us knew how good it really was.
There you go, people. Let's go and watch the full film. It's available, and I'll bring our guest on screen now. Thanks for coming on, Jeff. You all right? Sorry, Ian.
Yeah.
Ian, calling you Jeff.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's
How you
brilliant.
doing? You all right?
Yeah, been looking forward to this, and
Oh, brilliant! Thanks.
I've watched the film a couple of times over the weekend, and I loved it because for me, it is about two things that I'm really passionate about, and the background behind the film and the music, and what they did as a station and the timeline and how it's emerged, and I think it's just a phenomenal piece of television. Well done.
Oh, thank you. Really pleased to hear that. Really.
Yeah, it's good. So, how did it all come about then? The film, whose idea was that? Was it just was it over a beer and we go, let's do this?
Well, there's a chap I've known for a very long time. He used to manage a band that I was in called Paul Hallam, and he came to me, and my business partner and I started Jack Pepper Media, and he said, I've got a great idea for XFM, which, back in the day was, a place where suddenly they were playing music that we all loved in the daytime. I think as time goes on, people forget that they just think Oasis and Blur and Prodigy were played on daytime radio, but they just weren't, up until XFM came along. So I really liked it. I loved the DJs, Calire Sturges, etc. Gary Crowley, and I just thought it'd be a great idea to do, really.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and it's good for us because we're a station. We set up in 2017, not pirate, but we do things a bit different, and I love the timeline and the things it did, like the links between the Cure management team, and then going, let's do something a bit different. Let's find a pirate radio station, and now that all come together. I think it's phenomenal. Yeah. And people like Noel Gallagher turning up and doing an acoustic set before the album got released and doing 3 or 4 tracks. I mean, that is it's just unbelievable that those things happened back then. It's amazing.
I mean, there's other mad stuff like, Dave Bowie's office was upstairs, So people would come in and they'd just hang out with Bowie. Bowie would come down and a beer or whatever, with them. And then you had people like Coldplay weren't sort of a big band at that time. And then you'd have Chris Martin just coming in after college, sitting there, having a few drinks because he was going out with the secretary or something. He was going out with one of them. It's just madness. The whole thing was bonkers. And then on top of that, you had Rickie Gervais.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know. I mean that launched Rickie Gervais, Steve Merchant, and the awesomeness of Carl Pilkington. You know, the big round face of Carl Pilkington. I mean, some of the stories, and you can see from the video because there's a lot of background stuff from then. So someone had the notion of videoing things real time. And you can see there Rickie and his talent emerging straight away. Can't you? You can see that he's funny and he's an entertainer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was a blagger as well, which is just
that.
like, that's what we were, you know, I mean, that's what we all are, isn't it? That's what we've come from, just blagging, you know?
Yeah, fake it till you make it. But I think for him, it was like, what was the line? It's something like, I was lazy. I wanted to do as least as possible. I found the perfect job. And then he brought Stephen Merchant in because he wanted to do even less work. So he brought an assistant in.
It was the brilliant line I love that Rickie says there is basically, I didn't know what I was doing.
I know. And then we got an email and he says, what am I paying you people for? In some,
that's Sammy Jacobs,
in some expletives. But for me, I mean, it's good for people out there, go and watch the film. I won't spoil it for you. But I just took some stuff down and I thought, this is amazing how links come together and people come together. So you've basically got Sammy is a DJ, thinks, do you know what? I could get some more people if I had a record shop. If I was on radio, so he went on Horizon pirate radio station. That's a story in itself. Then obviously Chris Parry thinks, do you know what? We need a pirate radio station. Let's do Cure FM, so it's Q102, and then that's it. That's how XFM was born. Some of the stuff we could sit here all day, but people need to go and watch it. But you know, setting up a radio station at Reading and getting Nirvana, and then I think one of them it was Radio 1, Radio 2, some equipment came down. So Sammy says, I'll lend you some equipment, but you'll have to interview me. I mean, just the guy just knew what he was doing, didn't he? He knew where he was going.
Oh, no, absolutely. But I think the other thing that gets missed a lot, obviously you're going in depth with it, which is fantastic. But another thing, it's like Keith Cameron, you know, he was mates with Kurt Cobain. You know, these are stories that were going on at XFM and they were a part of, you know, they were on the cusp of literally everything. Yeah. Everything.
It's pretty,
you know? So
it's inspiring.
Cool.
It's inspiring.
And that was John Peel you're talking about. So John Peel basically...
Yes, that's it. That was it.
His CD had broken down, so he knocked on Sammy's door. And Sammy said, I'll lend it to you, but you have to interview me on Radio 1.
Brilliant. I do that sort of stuff. Oh, I thought I'd put me a shirt and tie for you today because this is an important interview. So
very nice.
Look at
very
that.
Nice. Liked it. Yeah,
right,
very nice.
You've picked, normally we do these and we interview bands and we play their music, but you've picked 4 tracks and hopefully we'll get through the 4 tracks. And what happens, I tell the bands as well, while the video's playing, because we're going to cue the VT, you won't be on screen, so you're all right. So that's fine. We'll just, otherwise it's like an uncomfortable pause and it's sat there like, oh,
that's all right.
Yeah, so you've picked 4 tracks, and I'll bring what you've picked. The Clash, London Calling, obviously, perfect.
Well, I'm in London today, so I thought it'd be appropriate. I'm at the Grout Show doing this interview, so I thought it'd be appropriate for it.
It's brilliant. I'll tell you what, we'll play this now, and then for everybody out there, watch the video. We'll be right back, and we'll be talking more with Ian Jefferies about XFM. Okay. And if people, if that doesn't get your blood pumping, go somewhere else because that's what it's all about. It's one of my I love that London Calling by the Clash.
The greatest band to ever walk this earth.
They're awesome.
Ever.
Man. Yeah, I'd say they're good. I love them. I absolutely love. That's one of my favourite tracks. It's a classic. Mantre on and said he loves a bit of backward guitar, so that's fantastic. Brilliant. Thanks for choosing that as a track. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful. Right, where was we up to? So with Ian Jefferies, director of Kick Out the Jams, a story about XFM, and that was interesting because when I saw the title, I went, Kick Out the Jams. It's a track, and I think that was the first track they played on the station.
It very first track, yeah.
AMC5s. It was good. I mean, chaotic genius, the whole thing. You know, no, I don't mean the film. I mean the actual XFM and what they did. It was brilliant.
Yeah. No, I mean, even, I mean, again, Rickie said, you know, it was like the, maniac taking over the asylum. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of, it was that. It was based on that. And I think the only other way this could have worked is the way it did work, where it burned and got sold and do you know what I mean, moved on, and I just don't think there could have been any other way they could have done it really than that.
I think it's quite sad because I've been mentioning it today. It's the rise and fall, and I don't want to spoil the film for people. Go and watch it, but to launch and do all that stuff and then go and where they ended up to, within a short space of time from launching is pretty sad because they were brilliant. But anyway, what he did, it opened an egg full of talent that have all gone off and done their own things, and the world's a better place for them.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? If it wasn't for XFM and what they did, we wouldn't have had some of the people that we've got. I don't think they wouldn't have. It elevated them. It elevated them to a different place, and crazy. I wish I'd have been around then, but never mind. We'll do our own thing. So, you've not only done. I know we're talking about this one, and we urge people to go and watch it because I think it's a fantastic piece of TV. But you've done another other ones, haven't you, on mods and things like that, haven't you? So is it all stuff about music?
A few things sort of over time, a few documentaries, and a couple of movies as well. And at the moment, I think I can say this. At the moment, we're at the Groucho and we're filming the next documentary, which is on Irving Welsh,
right?
The of train spotting and crime and filth and everything else. And some of the artists that we've got here today are really, really special, really special. Awesome. And I was thinking to myself, towards the end of this interview, I might get a few people to come and say hello to you.
Well, I was going to say while you're there, a bit like he did, if there's anyone to be interviewed on this awesome station, which is Duggystone Radio, I'm more than happy to. That'll be.
I'll grab a couple of people off set and I'll get them to come and wave to the camera and say hello.
Genuinely, man, that would be absolutely lovely of you, and I really thank you and thanks for your time because I know you're busy. Because we was.
I've got Ray Burtis here, and Ray Burtis is here today. He's directing this with us, and he's the guy that done Love, Honour and Obey. He was in Scum. He done The Craze. So I'll get him to wave to you.
I was looking at that yesterday. Scum. That's an absolute. I've shown it to some of my lads when they were growing up and went, sit down, son, you're watching this, because that is not where you want to be if you're a naughty boy. Do you know what I mean?
I said to Ray, I watched that when I was 15 years of age, and never seen it since. And I can give you, Kurt, a blow-by-blow account of that movie. You know what I mean? Still by still.
And
that is how that embedded into me.
Yeah, who's the daddy?
Yeah, oh Christ, honestly.
Who's the daddy? People go and watch it, but all I warn you is if you ever see someone getting a gym sock and starting putting some pool balls in it, run. It's kicking off. Oh, what a film! What a film! That is just awesome, and people need to watch stuff like that. It's it's powerful stuff. Powerful.
Definitely.
Wonderful. So it sounds like you've got a busy time, and I mean, how did you pull? For me, obviously, you watch that and it's an hour long and everything. But there's a lot of work involved in it. I know how much you pull something together. So you got to how do you get the people like Rickie Gervais together? All those people that are all busy now. Yeah, how do you get them to film?
We're really lucky, right? Because Jim Benner, who was one of the DJs on XFM, when he came on board on the project, I said, if we can get the DJs, then we've got a documentary. We can do it. Do you know what I mean? We've got something to do if we get the DJs. And then Rickie will literally come back and said, okay, I'll do it. I'm going to start filming Afterlife 3 on this date. Can we do it before then? Which we did. We put him in there. And I'd just like to say, while we're here, out of everyone, I'm not putting anyone down, but out of everyone, Rickie was the one that he didn't want a car. He didn't want coffee. He walked to where we were. He came in. I went into the dressing room and said, can we, we've got a photographer. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Do that. And then at the end of the interview, I'm not making this up. Rickie said, now, if there's anything else you want me to do, let's do it now. Because tomorrow I start Afterlife 3 and I won't be able to come back. I don't mind staying 3 hours if you want me to.
And that's nice to hear because I look, you all say don't meet your stars because you do point, but I always look at Rickie because I see he used to do lots of things live on Twitter, and I think he's a genuine guy who cares about things. Yeah, he's made money, but I think at the root of it, he's still a genuine, down to earth guy who's come from like nowhere to something. I think he still remembers that, and I think that's quite crucial. A message for anyone: don't become a diva, just become rich and famous. Be true to where you come from because it's really important. And And hats off to him for doing that. I think he's funny. I think he's talented, and I'd like to say Afterlife is just, it's got to be up there in one of the all-time best things that anyone's ever produced. It's amazing.
Be laughing and then crying within split seconds of each other. How can that?
I know. The funniest bit when he walks past the lad and he calls him a pedo and he has a go. I mean, it's classic, isn't it? Even if it was a pedo, I won't go near you. Yeah, it's like, it's just, where does he get it from? But you're right. One minute you're laughing your head off, the next thing you're like an emotional wreck.
Absolutely.
And I think that has also supported a lot of people. I know we're talking about your stuff, but this is about everything, about filming, about talent. I think it's helped a lot of people through their grief. And if you've not watched Afterlife, go and watch that. It's awesome. I've plugged it for you, Ricky. Give us the tenner later. but yeah, excellent. But yeah, it's. I don't know what to say about it really. It's just people have got to watch it. It's phenomenal. They've done all sorts of things. I mean, who was it on there? These 1995. That was we talked about before. Noel did some sessions before What the Story Money, but that's quite funny because he was at Nebworth, didn't he? And he said, I want to speak to Noel, and he ended up in the trailer. It's just
the trailer. Yeah, waiting for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, Gary Crowley was one of the compares that day as well. So he compared. So which was really funny. And I don't know whether. Because I can't. Sometimes you look at these and you think, oh, but there's a really funny bit where Noel was slagging him off on one of the interviews, and said Joe Wiley wasn't great, but like he was better or something, So, which was quite fun.
I think if I remember the film, he said you were crap, but you were better than Joe Wiley. Backhanded compliment that is if I've ever heard one. I mean.
So much. We've got so many extras. We've got so much stuff that we couldn't put in there. Can you imagine?
Wow.
Each probably done an hour and a half interview. So, there's a lot. Like Steve Merchant's interview. We went to, he was a lovely man. He invited us to his house in Camden, which was beautiful. And then, and he just welcomed us in. You got to remember this was through COVID as well, so we're all wearing masks and and all that get up. Yeah. And the funny thing is, we set it up in his house, and then he came in and said, "Oh, could we set it up in front of the BAFTAs so Ricky can see them?"
Yeah, he has them behind him. Because Ricky don't like all that sort of stuff, does he? So
no.
I'll tell you what we should do. Should we break it up and have a little bit? You've picked another track, The K's, Glass Town. What's the rationale behind that?
Right. So the K's are a band. Do you know what? I'd done a film. I helped on a film that Ray Burdiss did called To Be Someone, and they needed a band. And it was sort of fate, really. I was sitting there watching Soccer AM, and the K's played this track on Soccer AM. Blew my mind. I then got hold of their manager, Nikki, really lovely lady, and asked them to get in the movie, and they did. I followed them since then. I went down to Victorious in the summer to watch them. They smashed it on that main stage. They're getting bigger by the moment. And anyone out there that wants a new band, go and watch the K's.
Well, on that note then, people, as they say, we'll cue the VT. We'll be straight back after this. Awesome track, this. Turn it right on. And if you don't like that, people, go and tune into Smooth FM, because that's how we do it. And if you like that sort of stuff, Dougie's Atomic Dustbin, Thursdays, 8 a.m. It's back-to-back stuff like that, and that was awesome. So back in the room with Ian Jefferies. That's brilliant, mate.
How cool is that band? How cool are they?
Mate,
they're great.
And do you know what I like about that? And we changed some of the shows. I just plugged it then, because I used to do an 80s, 90s show, and I got absolutely bored to death of it. And I thought, well, there's got to be some bands out there, like back in the day, the Hacienda, let's create a show that's like that. So that's what we do on a Thursday morning, and we play bands like that. And that for me,
you heard Pastel yet? You heard Pastel?
Yes,
Pastel,
we played them. We've played them on our shows. Yeah, definitely played Pastel.
Garden Party, you heard them?
Yeah, we played them.
The Chase?
Yeah, we played them.
I'm not
just saying that. You can go back and look at our last. You can go back. You can look at our last 30 shows that are on Spotify, and we'll tell you what we've discovered. We've had world exclusives, and we had everything going on. It's wonderful. This is because normally we ask artists a few things, so we can ask you the same thing. So disasters, like we've had things where artists turn up and like they're supposed to be at an open mic night, and there's nothing there but a mic, like nothing. You know what I mean? Not even a mic stand. What's a memorable disaster that's happened on set that you can talk about?
I think we were in Glasgow. I'm laughing because it's horrifying even thinking about it. So we were in Glasgow, and one of the producers, bless his heart, Jason, on Irving, was doing the interviews, which he's never really done before. He was a bit nervous. And he introduced a guy and said, "Oh, welcome to blah, blah, blah. Thanks for coming in and doing this." And the guy sat there very quietly. And I sat there, thought, he's got the name wrong. He's got his name wrong. And what he did was he took his first name and someone else that was on set, second name, and called him that. But the guy, I won't tell you who it was because it's unfair, but the guy called him out on it on camera.
Funny, I did that. Start with you.
He was all like, "I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking."
Oh, and that just completely scuppers your whole.
It does, yeah.
If you was nervous,
but then what happens is he sort of shit himself for the rest of the interview. Do you know what I mean? You could hear it. He was really nervous and tripping over his words. And funny.
Yeah, this is all. See, the thing is, I'm a bit thick-skinned. Stuff happens because I called you the wrong name at the start of the show, and then I was like, I just moved on from it. Just move on from it. And
I didn't call you out on it. You noticed I didn't call you out on it.
I called myself out. But
yeah, I know you did.
It's things like that. So. What's the plan? I asked the bands this, so I might as well should say. So, what's the plans for you? So, you've created what's next then? What would you like to do? Who would you like to work with?
To be honest with you, all the dreams that I've got are coming really, one after the other. Like we're doing Irving now. We interviewed Manny in Manchester, which was just mental. Rowetta as well. And then after this, we're doing. I can't really tell you the next one, but it's so huge. It really is huge. The next one, and the artists that are going to be on there, I'll come back. I promise. After we do Irving, I'll come back. We'll do another interview, and at that time, I promise we'll be beginning that, and I'll tell you all about it then.
Fantastic. Right? Yeah, and obviously we don't want you to tell us anything you can't tell us. But I was going to say if you can come back again, because we do that with other people. It's not just a one hit. It's we think.
No, I love this format as well. I love the format that you do it on. It's just wicked. I love it.
Yeah, it's it's been built up over a few years. We've been doing it a while, and it just sort of clicked in early on in the year. We said let's change things. Let's do something different. Let's bring TV and radio together. Let's find because we're on a platform called Mixcloud Live, so people can communicate, and they'll be probably putting messages on there. I mean, totally ignoring them today. But normally they ask bands thing like we've got Manta Ray on, a really awesome band. Stuart Lee isn't a fan. What's that? Anyway, there's all sorts. So it's bringing all the things that people like. So they like to communicate, like to be part of the show.
Yeah.
All on one platform, and then this will spin off, and we'll put this on YouTube and things like that, and we'll take the music off.
Yeah, do that, and then I can share it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely will. That would appreciate that. So yeah, it's great, and we want a platform for people that are out there. There's people that are emerging. You know, that we want to get them out. We want to get into a wider audience. We want people to listen to these awesome bands and not just gravitate to what is there. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? The thing
is, Kurt, with XFM, all barring about 4 songs. They're all new bands on XFM. Do you know that?
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
Barring 4 songs. And the reason why we did that, Sally Newman, who is fantastic on Songbird PR, she sort of helped me with the musical direction on it. But they're all new bands because we want to get these new bands out there because there isn't a platform. And XFM is today. That still happens today. These bands are not getting played on daytime radio. They're not. And bless John Kennedy's heart, he plays them a lot on Radio 6, as he decided to tell me at the premiere when I said that they weren't getting played on radio. Only lent into me and said, I play them on radio. I was all right, fair enough, you do. So, but yeah, that's why I did that. Exactly what you're doing. That's why I did it, because of that, you know?
Yeah, because yes. I don't know. Name a band. You know, Nirvana. They don't. I don't. If I'm doing an indie show, I don't need to play the because they've already made it. They're not going to get it. So what we're trying to do is build a movement where the artists and us we're all together and listens, and it just comes off and builds up. And you know what? We'll have fun doing it. We'll see where it takes us. So that's fantastic, and it's the same sort of, and that's why I like the film because it's the same sort of ethos that we're after doing. I mean, I mean. They did phenomenal to do what they do, but then ended up selling to Capital, didn't he? In the end, which is a shame. Bricks
It
through,
was a shame.
bricks through the window with an X on it and things like that for listeners. And I think it just, I think the whole thing just really hit, like you said, they wasn't playing that stuff during the day, weren't they? They weren't playing on the station. And I think people driving around London were like, wow, have you heard this? It's just amazing. I think it just exploded from there. And it's, it's a point in time that won't be repeated because the what they did was in its time. So the radio, the pirate radio. Now we can do all this, and we don't, we can do what we do. But so that what they did will never be repeated in that same way. It's a one-off. That's it. You can't do that ever again. And it's good,
absolutely not.
And it's good to capture it for prosperity as well. So
so I'm glad we did, and it's there forever now, isn't it? So that's that,
Yeah, no, people can look at it and go, "Oh, wow, I didn't really like." Because I think I always thought Rickie came from the BBC for some. I don't know why, but I always thought he came from the BBC, and that's where that's where he ended up meeting. I thought it was the other way around. You know what I mean? So that sort of explains something for me. So
you've just touched onto something there that I was going to say as well. That's how much they believed in people like Sammy Jacobs, where Calire Sturges had a career at the BBC, right? And she left the BBC to go and do this pirate radio station. That's how much they believed in them, Yeah,
because
just amazing.
Because the other thing is not try to slag the BBC off or any any establishment, but there's you're sort of shackled, aren't you? Because you'll be told you'll be told what you can play, when you can play it, what you can say, what you can't say. You can't swear. Our pluggers have given us all these tracks, so you've got to play these, and you might think, why am I playing this? I think when one of them was playing Scritty Politi and he kicked the door in and said, "Turn this shit off." I mean that's bloody brilliant, and it's a bit like me. I do that with one of my presenters. I'm sort of getting him there now, but what are you playing this crap for? So right, let's because I'm quite conscious you've got stuff to do, and I'm not trying to get rid of it. I'm just looking at the time. We're all right. We're still on it. So
the next track, do you like Cat Burns? Do you know her? Do you like her?
Yeah, I was listening to this. I mean, I've got a video, but it's only the lyrics of the video, and I think it's totally different to the last two tracks you've played, isn't it? It's got a different vibe to it.
Yeah, definitely. So the reason why I like her is that I'm very lucky, right? I've got on set. I'll introduce you to Elle, sitting next to me in a minute, does makeup. Yeah. And then I've got Meg, who does line producing for us. And they're younger, right? So they bring these songs on to the set, and they bring them, when you're travelling. And this is one that's attached to me, that has been played to me recently a lot. And then suddenly I find myself singing it, and I think, oh, I quite like that. Yeah. And then I said to my son about it, and he reckons I'm down with the kids, which is, I'm all right with that,
I do a job as well. I went into the site. It's a tech company, and I had my hoodie on and my baseball cap on and my boots. And he went, "You're looking very millennial, Kirk." I went, "I was millennial before there was millennials."
There you are.
Right, let's play this because Ian's down with the kids, so we've got to play this. Cue the VT. Cue the VT.
Confrontation.
People pleaser. We're with Ian Jefferies. I'll bring him back on screen. I did mute him because just so we didn't interrupt there. But there, we're talking about the story about XFM.
What I was going to say to you was, Kirk.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
I can
Let me introduce you to everyone quickly. Is that all right? Yeah. Okay. So here I've got Owlet. She's hair and makeup.
Hello.
I've got the lime juicer here.
Hello.
Okay, let me take you into the room so you can see everyone else. Okay. So, guys, live on radio at the moment. I'm just introducing you to the guy. This is Anthony. He's doing all the camera work today.
Awesome.
And then over here, you've got Brian. Hi, buddy. You okay?
Hi, mate. Hi, Brian.
And then the man that you wanted to meet, we got Ray Burdis here for you.
Hello, dear.
Excellent, man. How are you doing?
All right, not too bad.
Are they looking after you?
They're looking to get the wine in,
Well, someone get some wine. Go and get some wine for him.
All right, how's that?
Excellent.
Is that good?
Brilliant.
Ooh. Okay, let me go back to my cubbyhole so I can finish it off.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
Good. So you got a full day today, have you?
We have got a full day. Yeah, we've got some great people coming in. We've got Gail Porter coming in, which will be fab to see her. We've met her before. Meg danced and partied with her at someone's wedding. And then we've got, who else have we got? Andrew McDonald, who was the producer off of Trainspotting, and Kirsty Allison. who was in his band, and she worked on Loaded. Do you remember Loaded magazine?
Yeah, yes.
She worked there.
Excellent. Train Spotting, brilliant film, another brilliant film that for its time. And I'd say what was an interesting link that was in there, because I ended up watching the film because of it the other day. I can't remember who it was who had a record shop, and he said this guy came in and said, "What's this play?" Yeah. Bought a load
Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, and it was in the it's just absolutely. So
is that mental, isn't it?
Yeah, and how these links and how these links work, with things that story, it's just craziness. Yeah.
I was going to say to you, Kurt, right, on this is one for your listeners, if you like, on Train Spotting, there's a link to the Beatles in Train Spotting. Did you know this?
My wife probably would, but go on.
I'm going to leave that with you. Just find out what that link is, right? There's a link in Train Spotting, and it's the link to the Beatles.
Oh, right, okay. Well, we'll have to go and watch that now. Answers on a
put it in there for a reason. For it.
Answers on a postcard, people. Oh, I see. Right. I get you now. I see what you're good at this, aren't you? You're good at this.
There you go.
You've done this. You've done this before.
I might have done once.
I think you've got a future in entertainment.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Excellent. So, do you want us to play this now? Let you get on with your day, or just?
Okay, yeah, cool. If that's all right, that's okay.
Yeah, because I know you're busy, and I don't want to take you.
That's all right. But I really wanted to do the interview because I know that you guys have done sort of, I know Sally was telling me how great the station is, and I really wanted to do it, and I'm not just saying that. I really wanted to do it. So I'm so pleased you had us on. I'm really thankful for that, mate.
And we're really thankful for people like you and that. That help people like us, because we're on our journey. We're at a certain place on our journey, and we just want to keep going. And we will never forget where we've come from, and we'll always be able to support people.
Ever.
I think it's fantastic. I think it's brilliant what you're doing, and I'm looking forward to speaking to you again on the next one. Could you do us a favour? Could you do us a drop? We normally ask artists to do drops and we play them on the station. So if you could just say, this is Ian Jefferies, and you can mention the film if you want, and you're listening to Duggystone Radio. Can you do that for us?
Okay. Yeah, this is Ian Jefferies. You're listening to Duggystone Radio, one of the directors on XFM.
Absolutely wonderful. So what we're going to do, we're going to play this because he's just
what a tune! Come on,
this is a tune. Seamless link, right. And we'll let you go. I mean, I'll cut it off if you want, or you can stay and listen to the track.
No, I'll just stay and listen to it. I think you've got to listen to it. Yeah,
you have. Right, let's have this. Now, I don't know if they're right here, but Manta have been on and said, is the link Abbey Road? So I've no idea if that's the correct answer or not.
Oh, that is the correct answer. But why is the link Abbey Road?
That we'll find out. We'll find out soon. Yeah, there you go. So that's.
Listen, cheers for having us, mate. I really appreciate it.
Thanks very much. Have a great day. Speak to you soon. Stay safe.
And you, fella. See you later.
See you later. Cheers, man. Wonderful. How cool was that? Don't know. I told him to stay safe, but he does. Wasn't that brilliant of him to do that and come on and chat with us? Hopefully, we'll get him on again when he's finished his project. Really busy guy, and wonderful. And this is. Thanks for Wolf and Brew for sponsoring the show. This has been Duggystone Radio. Normally do introducing, but that was Ian Jefferies. The story about XFM, its rise, its fall, and everything in between. I urge you to go and watch it. It's absolutely wonderful. Sounds like he's got some amazing projects in the offing, and he certainly knows his stuff. Until next time, Kirk out.